choose intentionally to mislead this committee, the same Cap 12 will turn against you. However, that is not the intention. The intention is to level the interaction field so that you freely express yourself. So we expect you to maximize the immunity that has been granted to you. So we may begin with introductions. So CS, introduce yourself, then give chances to other members of your delegation to introduce themselves.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Chembo Mangwatu Embassy, Council Secretary for Chilundu. I'll allow the other members to also do self-introduction.
Good evening, Chair. I'm Kebi Kazoka, Director Finance, Chilundu Town Council.
Next time, don't use that one, Mr. Kasoka. That one is for the CSA alone. It's better you put the other one. Yeah. So next.
Good evening, Chair. I'm Miriam Lenga Kamwendo, the Director Planning.
Good evening, Chair. I'm Natasha Masamba, Socio-Economic Planner.
Good evening, Chair. I'm David Kalebuka, Internal Auditor, Chilundu Town Council.
Good evening, Chair. I'm Kombasa Hemba, Assistant Director Engineering.
Good evening, Chair. Saputo Fanuel, Senior Procurement and Supplies Officer.
Auditor General.
Good evening, Chair, and welcome to Chilundu Council. Willa Munkanta, Assistant Director, Lusaka Province.
Good evening, Chair. Good evening, members of the committee. Good evening, Chilundu Council. I'm Sishwat Kawila, Principal Auditor, Lusaka Province.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, everyone. My name is Simon Munyama. I'm from the Planning and Research Department in the Office of the Auditor General.
Good evening. My name is Luvinda Sinyani from the Planning and Research Department in the Office of the Auditor General. Thank you.
Minister of Finance.
Good evening, Chair, and good evening, everyone. My name is Mumbasaka from the Ministry of Finance and National Planning, Office of the Accountant General. Thank you.
Good evening, Chair. Good evening, members of the committee. Good evening, Chirundu. My name is Achubuya Davis, Assistant Director, Local Authorities Department, Ministry of Finance, Audit Division, and you are welcome.
Local Government.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening to you. Good evening, honorable members of the committee. Chirundu Town Council, good evening and you're welcome. My name is Joyce Kubansa from Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development. Thank you.
Secretariat.
Thank you, Chair. Emmanuel Walia from the Office of the Clerk.
Honorable colleagues, starting from Kaumwe.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening, Chirundu, and welcome to your committee. I am Honorable Dr. Aaron Mwanza, Member of Parliament for Kaumbwe constituency in Petauke District of the Eastern Province. Thank you.
Mangango.
Thank you so much, Chair. Good evening to you. Evening, Chirundu Town Council. You are welcome before your committee. I'm Luhamba Mwene, Member of Parliament for Mangango. Thank you.
Substantive Chair from Chasefu.
Thank you very much, Chair. Good evening, Chirundu. Mishek Mtetwa Nyambose, representing the wonderful people of Chasefu constituency in Eastern Province. I'm the substantive chair of this committee. Thank you. Welcome.
And I'm Karobo Pavyuma, representing the good people of Sakere constituency. Privileged this evening to share this interaction between yourselves and on behalf of the substantive chairperson who you have seen in that seat, fully participating and observing CSE. The committee would like to apologize for keeping you long. We went to the funeral, as you may be aware. We lost the clerk of National Assembly, so we went to the funeral. That's the reason why you have been kept longer than necessary. So the committee would like to apologize for that lapse. We are in the seat of your submission, and the committee acquainted itself with its contents. So we'll give you time to speak to your submission. But before we do that, during the year under review, were you there yourself, CS?
I was there, Chair. I joined in 2022 November.
Okay, Director Finance? Were you there?
I was there, Chair.
Okay, Director Planning?
I was not there, Chair.
Okay. Assistant Director Engineering, and why do you have an Assistant Director? And why do you have an Assistant Director? And why did you say in your introduction that you are an assistant?
My apologies, Chair, Acting Director.
So CS, why do you have an Assistant Director? Where is the substantive person?
The substantive person is actually on leave, Chair.
When did he go on leave? And when were you informed that you are supposed to appear? Why didn't you make that provision for him to be here?
Chair, the leave that the substantive is on is actually disciplinary.
Okay. Senior Procurement Officer, were you there?
No, Chair.
When did you join?
2024 March.
Okay. Socio-economic planner?
I was there, Chair.
Internal auditor?
I was there, Chair.
Okay. You have 20 minutes to speak to your submission. You may proceed.
Thank you, Chair. So, Chirun Town Council Constituent Development Fund 2023 Memorandum. I'll straight away go to specific audit findings. I'll be going to management response. So the cause of query there is that implementation of non-approved project, that is management of youth and women empowerment grants. So the action taken, Chair, is management acknowledges the auditor's observation regarding the failure to implement approved projects. However, the three cooperatives stroke clubs that each received 40,000 kwacha encountered various implementation challenges and subsequently applied for changes to their initial approved projects. So the letters referring to their request to change and everything is actually attached on Appendix 1A. Remedial measures, Chair, management will enhance monitoring efforts to ensure that the successful implementation of the projects. Under B, which is failure to implement approved projects by a cooperative, Chair, the cause of query there is management acknowledges the auditor's findings on a failure by the cooperative to implement an approved project, but the action taken is that management acknowledges the auditor's observation regarding the failure to implement the initial approved project. However, Siakacheka Support Club Cooperative applied for a change in scope from gardening to goat rearing, citing various implementation challenges. This request was reviewed and approved, Chair. So we refer you to Appendix 1B for the communication on what happened to change. In terms of remedial measures, management will enhance monitoring efforts to ensure that successful implementation of the approved project. Cross-cutting issues, Chair. The cause of query is withheld funds by the Ministry for the Construction of Chief Palace, amounting to 936,751, and the CDF motor vehicle insurance, which is 115,681, and the same totals to 1,052,432. Now the action taken. So management wishes to state that the funds were withheld by the Ministry for the construction of the Chief's Palace That's 936,000. And the Constituency Development Fund CDF Motor Vehicle Insurance, 115,681. Management will ensure that updating of ledgers on such transaction is well adhered to in collaboration with the Ministry. We refer you, Chair, to Appendix 2, where the communication by the Ministry of Local Government on the 936 for the Palace, as well as the 115, which was meant for the motor vehicle insurance, was actually communicated to the councils. The major measures, Chair, the construction site for the Chief's Palace has been handed over to the contractor, and management will work in collaboration with the provincial engineer to monitor and supervise the works. Additionally, management will ensure that all Constituency Development Fund CDF motor vehicles are properly insured. The council will continue to update its ledgers each time there is a deduction from the source. Appendix 1.1, that is retained for Chief's Palace, that's still talking about the same 936,000, Chair. And there we're just saying the cause of query is just the retained funds for construction of the palace.
You may skip it since you have...
Thank you, Chair.
Unloaded.
So we go to Appendix 2, Total Unspent Fund, Chair. The cause of query. Management has taken note of the auditor's findings regarding the total reported unspent funds. However, management wishes to clarify that unspent amount of 16.161 as at 31st December was primarily due to the delayed receipt of the 2023 CDF funding. The final disbursement of 8.6 and 5.8 were only received on the 14th of November and the 30th of December 2023, respectively. So management would equally like to mention that the expenditure and the balance as at 31st December was 30.8 and 16.176 respectively as per 2023 audited financial statement. The action taken, Chair, management wishes to mention that the unspent funds amounting to 16.1 were committed to ongoing projects under the 2022 and the 2023 Constituency Development Fund. These funds had been allocated to specific projects and remained incomplete as at the end of 2023 and were therefore carried forward into 2024 fiscal year. So, Chair, that table just shows the community projects opening balance as well as the expenditure up to the money that was remaining. I want to say that under the community projects, which is 14 million, management's response there is that the cause of query is that management acknowledges the auditor's findings and confirms that a total of 14.085961 was committed to community projects for the year 2022 and 2023. Action taken. Management would like to state that the projects initially planned for 2022 were deferred to 2023, while the 2023 projects were further carried over to 2024, including project retention. So a total of 14,085,961 was allocated as follows. So that was the allocation there for community project, 8.9, the expenditure was 8.5. The 2022 community projects that were completed in 2023, sorry, Chair, the opening balance is supposed to be 5.1 and the expenditure was 5.1, meaning we spent everything. So we've referred you, Chair, to Appendix 4 for the details of those projects. Remedial measures. Management will continue liaising with the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development on the timely disbursement of the CDF funds. 2 is accrued interest and revolving fund of an amount of 466. Which saying, cause of query, Chair, management acknowledges the auditor's findings regarding the unspent funds totaling to 466,064. However, it is important to note that this amount represents revolving fund loan recoveries accumulated during the 2023 fiscal year through the monthly repayment. As such, these funds could only be utilized after the close of the year under review. So the action taken, management wishes to clarify that the 466,064 from revolving fund loan recovery in accordance with the CDF guidelines was incorporated into the 2024 CDF loan disbursement. That we refer you to appendix number 5, Chair. Remedial measures, management will ensure that accumulated recoveries from the revolving fund is monitored and funds must be given back to new beneficiaries in line with the CDF guidelines. Number 3, there is grants in amount of 32,887. The management response, the cause of query. Management acknowledges the auditor findings on unspent balance of 32,887. The action taken, the balance of 32,887 was allocated to the Chair, sorry, there it's showing 2024. It's actually 2025 empowerment grant component and has already been disbursed. We also refer you to appendix number 6. In terms of remedial measure, the implementation of grants by beneficiaries. 4, we have bursaries 1.5. The cause of query, management acknowledges the auditor's findings. However, the total virement of amount of 1.5 complies the 2022 brought forward balance of 1.378 from the bursaries component and the 121,160.54 from the allocation of the community project component. Action taken, management through the CDF committee proposed that the unutilized bursaries balance of 1.378839 brought forward from the 2022 be valid for the construction of a girls' dormitory at Ngombe Ilede. The total virement comprised of 1.3 from 2022 bursaries allocation and the 121,160 from the allocation of the community project component. So the chart, the table there just shows the details of what I was just referring, and the details are actually put at appendix 7, Chair. Remedial measures, management will ensure that the project is handed over to the community. So as we speak, this project has finished. We've also attached the pictures of the same. 4 is loans of 198,000. The cause of query, management acknowledges the auditor's findings. However, the funds allocated for 2022 were not utilized within the planned period and were subsequently carried forward to the 2022 financial year for implementation.
2023, not 2022.
Yes, Chair. Thank you. Action taken. Management would like to mention that CDF loan allocation for 2022 amounting to 3.9 and the 2023 allocation amounting to 3.2 were disbursed in the year 2023 with the undisbursed amount of 198 disbursed with the 2024 CDF loans allocation. So the table there just elucidates the points I already alluded to. So in terms of remedial measures, management will continue to monitoring the loan beneficiaries. Unspent funds community project, the cause of query, unspent funds for 2023 community project amounting to 8.9. The action taken, management wishes to clarify that the unspent funds amounting to 8.9 were committed to ongoing community projects under the 2023 project constituent development fund. These funds were allocated to specific projects and remained incomplete as at the end of 2023 and were accordingly carried forward to the 2024 fiscal year. The details of the carried over commitments are outlined. So there's the construction of the sports facility. The status is work in progress. Construction of 3 sanitation facilities, work in progress. Provision of electricity of 1 million. It's also a work in progress. Rehabilitation of Lusitu water reticulation. In terms of the financing, this is complete. Construction of Martinet wing at Chivende. This is work in progress. Water supply for Ngombe Ilede Secondary School, work in progress. And water supply extension in Kanigumbo, this is complete. And delivery and supply of the school desks of 1,032,000. This too is complete. So we have referred you, Chair, to appendix number 9, remedial measure. Management will continue monitoring the community projects and ensure that the completed projects are handed over to the community. Appendix 2.2, unspent funds in terms of grants. The cause of query, management acknowledges the auditor's findings. However, the balance of 32 were allocated to the 2024 empowerment grant component. Action, the balance of 32 was allocated to 2024 empowerment component and has already been disbursed. So we've also referred to appendix 10. No. This you also look at appendix number 6 as the similar report. Management, in terms of remedial measure, management will continue monitoring the implementation of grants by beneficiaries. Appendix 2.3, unspent fund empowerment. So, Chair, this is the same as the above. It still talks about the 32,887. Thank you. Then 2.4, which is secondary boarding and skills boarding. The cause of query, this is unspent fund on bursaries amounting to 1.3. You may also wish to note, Chair, that the 1.3 is, we've alluded to it already, but I'll still talk about the action by management. Management, through the CDF committee, proposed that the unspent 2023 bursaries balance amounting to 1.3 be valid for the construction of the girls' dormitory at Ngombe Ilede. Appendix 12, we are saying refer to Appendix 7 because this has already been belabored. So in terms of remedial measure, management will ensure that the dormitory is handed over to the school. 2.5, unspent fund administrative cost. The cause of query, the overspent administrative component of management. Action taken. Management would like to state that most of the activities planned for 2022 were carried out in 2023, which is why the funds were spent in the year 2023. This also included planning expenses for 2024, as the majority of the planning meetings took place in 2023, in line with the annual output-based budgeting or BB calendar. So we referred you, Chair, to Appendix 13. In there, we also have letters from the Minister of Local Government advising the councils to be able to use the funds for the current and in the following year in terms of the planning. So remedial measures, management will ensure that expenses on administrative component correlates with the guidance from the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development. Appendix 3, community project. Chair, this one is a status as provided for by the auditor, in which they talked about the balance brought forward in terms of community projects for 2022-16, and that we implemented 16 projects. So we do not have a quarrel with this, Chair. The status is as the auditor outlined. So we have also made some appendices here. You saw you refer to appendix number 4. So remedial measure, management will ensure that all completed projects are handed over to the community. Appendix 4, 2023 community project. Chair, the cause of query and completed 2023 projects, action taken. Management would like to mention that the council received some of the 2023 allocation in November 2023 and December 2023 respectively. Therefore, the management implemented the 2023 community project in 2024 due to the late receipt of the CDF allocation. Now, kindly note, Chair, that approval for the reallocation stated above was also granted in the year 2024. So we've also put Appendix 9 as the evidence of that. In there, we also have the bank statement showing when we received those amounts of money. The major measure, management will ensure that the reallocated projects are implemented and monitored. Appendix 5, analysis of performance, youth and women. Chair, cause of query, management acknowledges the auditor's findings that no funds were disbursed for youth and women community grants in 2022. Action taken, management would like to mention that the total of 2.1 was received during the period under review and disbursed 1.9 to the listed beneficiaries, leaving a balance of 162, which was paid. Chair, there's 6, it's a typographical. It's supposed to be 5 clubs and cooperatives in the year 2024, and the total amount is 140. So the particulars, Chair, is that, so the major measure, Chair, is that management will ensure that the benefiting clubs and cooperatives are monitored. And I go to performance of the soft loans. The cause of query, funds allocated for 2022 were not utilized within the planned period and were subsequently carried forward to the 2023 financial year for implementation. Action taken, Chair. Management would like to mention that the CDF loan allocation for 2022 amounting to 2.9 and the 2023 allocation amounting to 3.2 were disbursed in the year 2023 with the undisbursed amount of 199, which was disbursed in 2024. So the funds approved by the provincial local government officer for 2024 disbursement is more than the 2024 allocated funds, as it includes the funds carried forward and funds from the revolving fund account. So in terms of remedial measures, Chair, management will ensure that it continues monitoring the recovery of loans. Appendix 10, secondary school bursary, cause of query, number of returning students that had not yet graduated at the time of the audit. Action taken, management acknowledges the auditor's findings pertaining to the number of graduates from skills development, that is 600 out of 631, and for secondary school, 1 out of 46 for the period 2023. So management would, however, like to mention that the 31 out of 631 and the 45 out of the 46 sponsored the student had not yet graduated at the time of the audit, as they were returning students. So we have also referred you to appendix number 18 for the details of those students. So the major measures, management will continue monitoring the bursaries and skills beneficiaries to ensure that the sponsored student graduate and become better citizen in society. That would do for my report, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, CS, for the submission. Honorable colleagues, it's time now for questions and points of clarifications. Substantive Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. CS, thanks for the submission. Some clarifications to seek from you. Chair, page 1. Implementation of non-approved activities, management of youth and women empowerment loans, grant 40%. Chair, the council at Chirundu gave out grants to 4 clubs which were not approved. In short, the clubs changed the projects, what they applied for and what eventually they ventured into. Council Secretary, why didn't your office ensure that the clubs, the 4 clubs, totaling 200,000 kwacha, 40,000 kwacha to each, why didn't your office ensure that the change from one project to another was approved? One, you have acknowledged that lapse, and you, according to Appendix A1, Chair, on the 15th of April, the Council wrote to the respective cooperatives expressing displeasure that they undertook or they ventured into a project that was not approved by CDFC. The strange thing is that the council wrote or responding to a letter that the cooperatives wrote on on April 26, I mean. The cooperatives responded after the council wrote to them. The CDF committee, the question is, did you resubmit to the CDF committee for consideration on the variation? If you did, which minute approved the variation from the area projects which they had applied for? The only minutes that I see in this report are in August, after audit. I will make a follow-up question later. I can end there.
On the same, proceed.
Thank you, Chair. CSA, you got your same appendix 1A. Look at the letters that were written by these cooperatives. They were all written on the same date. All of them on the 26th of April, 2024. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And the 4th one is here. So, they were all written. Did you call them to say, now you come here and write the letters of changes of your business just for formality, so that when we go and appear before this committee, they should see that we have documents? If not, why, after they wrote, why didn't you approach your auditors and clear off this particular query which is before you? Because these are queries you can clear if you did the right thing. And the third question is, according to you, you did the wrong thing first. Then that's when you went, oh, okay, so they haven't written, oh, come and write. So you were just simply writing for formality, only for formality, not really doing the correct thing. Why didn't you do the correct thing by ensuring these clubs and cooperatives right first? That's when you vary or change. Instead, you gave them the money, they did what they did, that's when you called. Why did you decide to do the reverse or the wrong thing? I submit, Chair.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes, proceed.
Yes.
Yes, you wait until I give you, so proceed.
Obliged.
Proceed.
Thank you. Well, I want to say that initially, I think all the clubs were given money to go and implement the approved projects. And I think on their own volition, these clubs changed. And so the letter that we wrote on the 26th was after we had done the monitoring, just to ensure that the clubs were doing the same thing that they had applied for. Now, some of the reasons that they gave us were genuine. Some wanted to do hammer mill, but during that time, it was discovered that there was not even a single bucket that they could buy, so they opted to do something closer to, for them to be able to make money. Now, these matters were taken to the committee, the CDF committee, for approval. Under the appendices, there are minutes of 29th of August 2024, and on item number 1320828, there's change of site, project, and site. So this is where the committee ratified the changes that the clubs had actually done.
Follow up. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you, Chair. I'm happy that he has mentioned the CDF committee meeting of 29th August 2024. I wanted to find out through you, Chair, when were you audited? Then I'll ask a question. When were you audited for 2023 CS?
We were audited in November, March 2023. March 2024.
Chair, they were audited in March 2024. They had to wait for the auditors to visit them. That's when they could write to the respective cooperatives after audit, then call for a CDF meeting in August.
Sorry, Chair. He hasn't said they waited for auditors to audit. He has said it was as a result of monitoring. That was when they discovered that actually these clubs used the money differently. Isn't it that what you said? Not as a result of auditors, not so?
True, Chair.
I mean, yes. You said it was as a result of your monitoring. That's why you discovered that. That's when you discovered that actually these clubs did not use the money as applied and not as a result of auditors. Can you substantiate that statement you just mentioned? Because according to us, what we are feeling is that it's because you were audited, queried. That's when you now did what? You now wrote to these clubs and cooperatives to do what? To write these letters on the same day and try to correct the wrong. So can you just confirm? I submit.
And before...
Chair, he has actually hit the nail on the head. That's what I wanted.
Yes.
Although it was when you look at the events, they were doing no monitoring at all until they were audited. Then that's when they started writing. And he even used the word ratification. They had already done the wrong things. But what is worrying is what Honorable said. Monitoring.
Yeah.
The CS said it was a result of monitoring. But when you look at the events, it was a result of audit. Why?
And in the first round of questions, Honorable Member from Mangango also did ask you, CS, that did you prepare this document for the purpose of appearing before this committee? You skipped. And in your exhibit here, the committee, the CDFC committee, approved the changes on 29th August 2024. The applicants wrote on 26 April, all of them. I've seen about five or six letters. On the, yeah, one came on the 16th. Only one is different, 16th April. Others are 26 April. And you, as a local authority, you approved, you gave authority to change on the 15th April before applications were made and before the committee sat to approve the changes. So, can you respond together with all these other questions? Why did you behave like that?
Thank you, Chair. So the letter that we did on the 15th of April was actually not an approval. It was just like to remind them. The approval was the one that was done by the CDF committee, which was under the minute that was done in August. I also want to say, Chair, that the audit also agitated us to be able to ensure that these people are able to own up in terms of the projects that they had changed to. But in terms of the change, it was done on their own volition, Chair.
Okay.
Me, Chair, I feel happy when the CS comes out to confess that they were agitated by the audit. Without audit, they don't do anything. I think this is what should be put clear. And this is what the committee is worried about. And this is what the government is worried about. You can only operate when the auditors are there. The rest you don't do. There is no report of monitoring. The time that these people, Chair, were given these, people should have made follow-ups and they discovered prior to the audit. But nothing happens. It's business as usual. The auditors come. That's when they discover this is what you have done. Then, oh, let's go and check. Why do you have a monitoring vehicle? Why do you have the planner paid by government? Why do you have the socio-economic planner? And why do you think this government is giving these monies to help these people, to manage them? Or why have they given this money to the councils? Those are the questions, Chair, I would want to get, because I'm very pleased today as set record that we were only agitated by the audit.
CS.
Finally,
also,
if this is the way, CS and your team, that you can only work when there is a whip, on your own you cannot do, until auditors come, do you think this country can change with that attitude? That's the biggest question, Chair, I have.
So CS responded, do you think this country can change? Do you think CDF can be a game changer with the laissez-faire attitude of approach to meager resources that we have in this country? Answer.
Thank you so much, Chair. Well, I want to say that monitoring has also been done. We've actually been doing monitoring, and so it's not that it's just the audit. I actually said the audit also agitated, but also monitoring was being done. If the committee can allow, we can still also bring the evidence on the monitoring. I just thought that the item was more to do with why they changed the project, Chair.
CSC, that simple question and the exhibit that you bring before this committee will trigger other issues. Because in scrutinizing public expenditure, we look at a lot of things. So, when you appear here, yes, it's a single question when it comes from the AG. But when you appear this committee, we'll ask a lot of questions surrounding the same so that we can authenticate. Because the report that you will do will be authenticating or exposing inefficiencies, or authenticating what you submit, if it is the truth or not the truth. So you must be ready. Honorable Member for Mangango.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy, Chair, that our CS is very much geared to provide evidence on their monitoring as regards this matter. So I think, as you know, Chair, that your committee is a committee of evidence. May he right now avail that evidence without going out or whatever, because they may end up manufacturing. You know, Chair, we have been having issues where, for example, receipt books are missing when auditors are there. But when auditors leave, that's when they now go to Matero and manufacture receipt books. Even in these kind of things can happen. So
CS,
personally, your committee chair will appreciate if the CS can quickly, kindly avail their monitoring reports, especially
CS, as
on
per
this
assurance, CS, can you do as you have assured the committee?
Chair, I wish to render unreserved apology that we didn't come with the monitoring.
But you just said you are ready in your submission. Just now, you said you are ready.
I said if the House would allow that, we can even bring in future.
Why did you leave? You didn't know that you needed that evidence?
Before he responds, Chair. Before he responds, this CS is a very good thing. If you were monitoring, at which point did you discover, if anywhere, you should have put in your record that a monitoring program undertaken on such a day, we realized. And if you had realized that these 4 clubs had done the opposite of what was approved, that report should have been given to the auditors. The auditors come, nothing is shown to them. How are we going to trust that which you want to show us now, that the report was done, that you never showed to the auditors when they were auditing? They came up with this, and you had the exit meeting. They were leaving to say, this is what our findings are. 4 clubs were given 200,000, and yet these projects were not approved. You should have said, no. There's a report from DPO, a report from Director Engineering. We did this. And the CDF committee could have been convened to correct it before the audit. But if you take audit serious, that can happen. But now you are telling us that they were monitoring. What is the proof of monitoring? That is what Honorable Mwene is saying, and the chair. Chair, these are simple things. That's why I said that if this is the attitude, do you think this country can change?
CS, out of your submission, these questions are arising. Your first statement was that you are agitated by the audit. Second statement, you said also you were agitated by the audit. Third statement, you did the monitoring. Which one is the clear position? Because we can't take the 3 positions. We only need 1 position. Which one is the clear position? Well, you see, it's very difficult when you are manufacturing evidence. You can't stick to 1 position. You keep jumping. So, which one is the clear position?
Chair, since the audit is what is available here, we will have to stick to being agitated by the audit.
And what did you do to the other 2?
The other one, which is the monitoring, unless the...
What did we do to them? You have stuck to 1. It's 1 sentence needed here.
We ignore them, Chair.
No, we can't ignore. What did we do?
To draw them, Chair.
Here we don't ignore. Okay, next question, Dr. Mwanza, then Mitete.
Thank you, Chair. We go to page 5. On page 5, we do a bit of some financial accounting. On page 5, there are 2 tables. Appendix, which is written Appendix 2, total unspent funds. And the other one is, so these two tables do not speak to each other, but they're supposed to speak to each other. They don't speak to each other on funding received. If you go to the second table, the balance brought forward, which are the funds from 2022 to 2023, they are the same, 19,502 and 29. They're the same, both tables. Then the funding received from management, you are saying you received 27 million for the 2023 CDF. You received 27,261,470. Whereas the other table there on top is a 27,499,428. So the problem or the mistake, or rather the omission, starts from here, because it has a ripple effect on the other columns. Like also the total funds available will be different, including, and also the biggest challenge is on the expenditure. The table 2, appendix 2, is showing Chirundu Council spent 40,507,957 kwacha, whilst the second table is showing total expenditure was 30,843,703. So what is the correct position which we need to, which I need now to ask further questions concerning these financials?
Yes.
Chair, I allow the DF to give a response.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe before I give details, maybe
voice projection.
Maybe before I give details, Chair, I will request our auditor, maybe she can make a comment, if possible, on the first table.
Proceed.
Thank you, Chair. The table above, I think this was, when you look at the expenses which are given here for 40,000, 40,507, Chair. I think it was a given position at the time they were authenticating because this was after the audit. So the position is at 30th of December 2023, Chair, is the table that we have provided below. I submit.
Yes. AG, you have a comment?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, these figures were actually confirmed by the client when we had shown them. So by proof of the draft audit reference paragraph is given to them so that they can confirm the figures. So the figures are reported as agreed by the client. I submit.
Dr. Mwanza?
Okay, so we withdraw the first table.
Okay.
Is that a position?
Yes, Chair.
Now, I take your table to be for further questions now. If we go to page 6, page 6 has a summary for each component of the CDF. Community projects, opening balance is 14 million. You spent 10 million of the community projects, and then the status. This status is current status, which is like today, the time that you submitted your report. Is 3,463,552.27. These are the grants, bursaries you have since spent the monies. Then now, which means the current status you have 3.4 million. But if I go to now, you need to explain the 3.4 million, the action taken. We have said management would like to state that the projects initially planned for 2022 were deferred to 2023, while the 2023 projects were further carried over to 2024. Very good statement, and then including project retention. So the total of 14 million, which is consistent in the table, is broken down as on page 7. Now, page 7, the question is, why 2022 expenditure is, you look at the number of, and then particulars, you have got 2023 community projects, the breakdown, and then you've got 2022 community projects completed in 2024. Why did you spend the money that was brought forward from 2022 and you spend it in 2024 as by evidence produced on the table on page 7?
CS, before you proceed, you have just said withdraw the first table, meaning withdraw the figure in the first table. That is what you just did before this question. Am I right?
Correct, Chair.
But here we have a write-up where you confirmed to the Office of the AG that the figures submitted are true figures. Maybe if I may read it because it's a short letter. Reference confirmation of the figures in the Rufunsa Town Council DAP number 5916 and 5917. Rufunsa. Sorry. Chirundu, reference subject. Submission of the DAP number 5848, CDF Chirundu, for confirmation of figures. We write to confirm figures of DAP number 5848 CDF Chirundu. Kindly find attached DAP number 5848 on the audit of 2023 CDF accounts for Chirundu Town Council that you sent confirmation. So you have confirmed that these are true figures. Why are you withdrawing them? You wrote to the Office of the AG. Why are you withdrawing the figures? Because we can't allow it to go like that, because especially that the disparity on the expenditures are too huge. There's a difference of 10 million on the figures. Respond.
Thank you, Chair. As I explained, the confirmation which was done, it was the expenditure is at that date of confirmation. The officer who submitted the information also included the 2024 expenditure. It's the reason why the expenditure is showing even up to 40 million. So the audited position as at December, Chair, is the table that we have below. So is at the date when the confirmation was done, the officer, I think he missed the information that what we needed to confirm was the figures is at 31st of December 2023. Instead, he confirmed the confirmation of the figures.
Director Finance, the audited position can't be the second table. The audited position is the figures that you confirmed with the age, which is a 40 million expenditure. It is yourselves now who subtracted after you discovered what you are explaining. So do you have documents indicating that 2024 was included? That's why the expenditure is less 10 million. Do you have documents to confirm, to show this committee that that is the clear position? Respond.
Chair, I have a copy of the audited financial statements.
And where did the AG get the 40 million?
That's why I explained that at the date when the confirmation was made, the officer computed the expenditure is at that date, which was inclusive of part of the 2024.
You can circulate that so that we scrutinize, Chair.
Before my honorable comes in, it's all the same, Chair. Me, it's not a question. I just want to show to the officers when he says the officer. When you asked them, were you there?
They said yes.
Director of Finance during the year under review. You said yes, isn't it? He is a treasurer.
Here we don't know the heads. You respond. People are following this program. Were you there?
I was there, Chair.
Yes, you were there.
This is the case, Chair, and I want to give it to them. In your own time, introspect. He is now passing his back as a director of finance when he is the chief financial advisor. And when the audit is being done, he's the last person to look at the figures and everything, say yes. And his office gave that information. That is the information that is there, Chair. Now, when they are quizzed, they want to change, Chair. They want to change that, no, this is not the case. Crying and showing that they are being accused or unfairly treated. You are the treasurer, you were there. You don't take audit serious. This is the case I wanted to confirm. I wanted the CS. You are one of the senior most and you are the secretary of SOLAS. Is it SOLAS or Law Government Association? You see that these auditors are serious. Government resources. When the audit is taking place, you delegate to your juniors. When it comes to responding, they come themselves and dispute what the auditors are bringing out. I just wanted to demonstrate as a take home. Not for you, for everyone. Now, us, who is just a committee who is not there during audit, we follow what the AG is guiding us. Because this is what you also confirmed. Now you want to come here and mislead this committee. Throw the arrow.
Which will not allow.
We are not going to allow. I always say, Chair, you are the one, the financial advisor, getting paid. You don't do those things. Then you are coming here, you have left the officer. Do we know that officer? We know you. So I just want to demonstrate that the officers are not taking audit serious, and yet they are paid to do this. So I'm very happy. This is the second time I'm saying the exposure from themselves. The people of Zambia will be watching. However, as we take what you even confirmed, if it's your officer, it's you, don't change.
Chair, if a substantive officer is serious, even subordinates, they act accordingly. So this is just a reflection of you substantive officers. This laissez-faire attitude will not be allowed because this committee is mandated to scrutinize expenditure and we shall do so as per guidelines. Honorable Member for Mitete.
Like stated, good evening, Mutelo Mishek, MP Mitete. Sir, the document signed there is you, the principal officer. Now the principal officer also say it's coming from the finance. And now finance is now also saying maybe the, how do you call the one who comes after you? Assistant accountant or deputy. So you are also aware, sir, that the local government service commissioner will deal with who? With the principal. We are happy you survived. You performed well. Kudos. But now you also have to deal with the heads of department. This maybe he has not told you, so that I tell you. Him is supposed to deal with you. Then you also are now supposed to deal with the officer you are referring. Let me admit, you must also be dealing with those officers. Let me admit that officer is there. Now see how that officer is. Are you feeling okay like this? Yes. No wonder the chair is saying, it's you. I don't like referring to others. Although recently someone said the back ends at me. Okay. So that is what must be happening. The moment you don't check the one below you, that's the result.
CS, you've seen the concern from honorable members. Your DF, you sign a document, meaning that these audit issues, you just take them. It's business as usual. The way it was, that's the way it is, that's the way it shall be. Now it has changed. So the committee want documents. Where is the expenditure showing 10 million the difference here? Can you account for this 10 million difference here? We are not going to allow you to change figures because evidence before this committee, there's a confirmation letter which you signed yourselves to the AG confirming that these are true figures. Here you come, you manufacture figures in your report. So where are the documents showing the 10 million expenditure difference here? We want it now, provided. We will not allow this laissez-faire attitude. We need the documents. Provide now. Respond to that.
Chair, the document that I can provide is that now, I don't know if I can be allowed to submit this.
Why didn't you exhibit it, or why didn't you tender it? How possible is it going to be for the committee to scrutinize that one document, all of them? And it's a big file.
Chair, with your indulgence.
And before we accept that, is it showing expenditure for total 40 million or 30 million, the one we want to submit? Because we're interested. Our interest, we want to see this 40 million expenditure total, not 30 million you are exhibiting. Is that the position? Respond.
No, Chair, that's not the position. The
Voice
position
projection, people are following on TV and radio, and including people of Rufunsa are seated, they are eager, they want to see how you are handling their resources. So speak the way you speak when you are in the council.
Thank you, Chair. The expenditure, the document that is there, it's showing the position to show the total expenditure of 30 million.
30 million is what you have exhibited here. That is the figure you have manufactured. That's what I'm saying. We are interested in the 40 million expenditure, not in the 30. We want to see this difference, 10 million. Where you have taken, that is what we want. Now you want to give us again information which is speaking to the opposite. So where is the 10 million? Where is it? We are interested. Where is the 10 million? 30 million, yes, we know, because even in the report it is coming out straight. So where is the 10 million is what we want. People of Rufunsa are ready now. They want to listen. And Chirundu, people of Chirundu, they want to hear. People of Zambia, including the government who's giving that fund, they are also interested. That's why they send this committee on its behalf to scrutinize this expenditure. Where is the 10 million before we move?
Chair, the position for the 10 million was a period after the 31st of December 2023.
Where are the documents?
In the document submitted, Chair, the documents for the 10 million are not provided, but would request if we would be given time just to provide
time to
for
go and
the 10
manufacture.
million.
Chair. Follow up. Okay.
Assuming we adopt your financial statement, so page 7, on page 7, opening balance for 2023 community projects is 8,968,628. And you haven't yet answered my question for 2022 community projects completed in 2024. Why the funds from 2022 could be utilized to fund projects in 2024 as per your table on page 7. Then page 7, we have the current balance in terms of community projects. So the current balance is 3,463,000. And if we go to page 10, page 10 is table appendix 2.1 is explaining unspent funds on community projects. And you're saying unspent funds for 2023 community projects amounting to 8,968,622, which the figure is consistent with page 7 as opening balance in 2023. Now, you were saying management wishes to clarify that the unspent funds amounting to 8,968,628 were committed to ongoing community projects under the 2023 Community Constituency Development Fund. These funds were allocated to specific projects that remained incomplete as of the end of 2023, and the status is as follows. The question now I have here is, if you look at this table, we have the allocation, which is consistent, 8,968,628. So there's an expenditure column. When I have added the expenditures to date, it is 4,724,243. Why is the unspent, which is the current balance, as on page 7? On page 7, you have indicated that your balance now on community projects is 3.4 million. But when I go to the table here, the balance is 4,244,384. How do you explain that the current balance here of 3.4 million is not consistent with the ongoing projects and the expenditures that you have incurred so far, which on the table it is coming to 4.2 million, 4.24 million. Then on the table, page 10, I'm so particularly interested with project number 3 and project number 5. You have said you have allocated amounts. The project 3 is 1 million. Project number 5 is 983, which is construction of maternity wing at Chivende Clinic. But the expenditure is 0. And the comment is that work is in progress. This is 1 year and 4 months. 1 year and 4 months, because these are the funds that were balanced at the time of financial closure, which is 2023 December. So there was already this allocation. Now this is 2025. So the whole 2024 and part of 2025, which is 1 year, 4 months. Why there is no movement on this project, maternity wing at Chivende? The electrification, provision of electricity, this one I might, is okay, understand, because the MOU is here and your council, Probably they're talking about viabilities and so on. So, but why is the project not moving? And in the status you are saying work is in progress. These are three questions. One, explain why on page 7, 2022 projects, community projects completed in 2024. Then the second one is why the balance, 3.4 million, is not equal to the balance that you've shown on table 10. And then also why table 10, it is 0% expenditure for 1 year, in 1 year and 2 months, 1 year and 4 months.
So CS, can you justify those wrong figures? And what you mean by work in progress when there's zero expenditure on a project? You may respond.
I allow the DF to respond, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. I think I can respond to the question of 2022 being completed in 2024, Chair. As we explained in earlier, Chair, the 2022 projects were implemented in 2023. So as such, Chair, some projects at the end of 2023, they were not completed. So they spilled over to 2024, including the retentions for the same projects. I think some of it was paid in 2024. So that's the reason why I think the table is showing that is up to 2024. Then if you noticed the report for the audit, I think it was saying under 2022 we had 16 projects. So by end of 2023 we had completed, I think, all the 16 projects. But I think the retention, it spilled over because some projects were completed towards the end of the 2023. So some retentions were paid under the year 2024. Then on the part of the other question was on the 1 million electricity and the construction of the maternity wing. On the construction of the maternity wing, I think the 983 is the amount which is remaining for the completion of the same project. That's why it's reported to be work in progress. The contractor who was on site, I think the contract was terminated. So this 983 is meant for the completion of the same maternity wing, of which I think the contract was awarded to the contractor. It's only that he has not been paid any amount from the 983. Then on the 1 million for the provision of electricity, I think a contract was signed.
On electricity, I think there's no question.
There is no question there.
There is no question
Chair,
there. So
with your indulgence, yes. I just wanted, in agreeing with him, I wanted to remind him that this is an evidence-based committee. When you say, I think they were completed, yourself, what more us? You should have showed us to say these 2022 projects were completed in 2023. The evidence is Appendix C, so. And they were 16. And this is the evidence. We would agree with you. And that's what we want to do. So you are giving us a story. If that was a story, we could have phoned you. Just say, no, 2022 we did. That we could have concluded than wasting resources. Treasurer, Chair, through you, show us the projects. Because in the report, it is not showing that. That's 2022 were completed in 2023. And here they are. What spilled over to 2024 was what do you call this? Retention. The completion certificates should show 2023. Then what is reflected in your report is only retention which was to be paid in 2024. It's very easy, Chair, to agree with the Treasurer. So I would like to ask through the Chair, can we open which appendix are the completion certificates?
So CSE, you have read.
Yes, Chair. So the
address this committee. Switch off your mics. Address this committee with facts. Don't think. Provide evidence. If we proceed in this fashion, we'll be left with no option but to release you. Now, we are very reserved because we kept you longer than necessary. So we have a lot of reservations. Even when you say this is the balance, your table is clearly saying allocation. When you say this project was allocated 983, it means this is the total sum of the contract. It's not indicating that it's a balance. So where is the evidence? Where is the contract? Where we draw that evidence? So provide evidences in all your queries so that the committee can be satisfied. Proceed, yes.
Thank you, Chair. The Appendix 4 has the completion certificate, and I think that as I was making a report, Chair, the Auditor General actually did make a status where they put 16 projects as having been completed. And I said we do not have a quarrel on that because that's the status as it was. So the 2022 projects, 16 of them were completed in 2023. And on Appendix number 4, we have the completion certificates for those projects, Chair.
Yes, please.
My question on 3.4 million. Why it is not the same 3.4 million on page 12, or on page 10, from the finance side of view. The current, when you go to page 7, page 7 shows that the current balance from 2023 community projects, the current balance is 3,463,552.27. And now you have explained that this total amount is committed to ongoing projects, and you've given us a table on page 10. Is it page 10? Yeah, page 11, sorry. It's table on page 11. So page 11, when I've added the total expenditure subtracted from 8 million, it's not coming to 3.4 million. It is coming to 4,244,000.
Another follow-up, Chair. It's a different one. Respond to that one so that you can.
Thank you, Chair. I believe the expenditure on the 00 expenditure, Chair, will not allow to give the, but if we say this minus the allocation minus the expenditure, the balance is, when we add up, that's the one which will give us the 3.4 million.
I've told you the total is 4,724,243.24. This is what you have spent from the allocation of 8,968,000. So if you say 8,968,000 minus 4.7, the unspent amount should be 4,244,000. But your presentation on page 7 shows that your unspent amount is 3,460,000 something.
We have noted, Chair, maybe we request maybe just to make a correction on where we have made an error.
On the same, Chair, with your indulgence. Even when the committee said we have no problems with the provision of electricity on 1 million, I have a problem caused by yourselves. When the expenditure is 0, it remains 0. There is no work in what? In progress. So, isn't it? What expenditure side? 1 million. The money allocated 1 million. What you have spent nothing. Then status work in progress. Where? Which work if the expenditure is zero? So just that, because it would show 7 what expenditure, 5 what status work in what in progress. Finish. But on that page 11, 10 to 11, you have the rehabilitation of Lusitu water reticulation system completed. I have no problems. But there is 1,910,000 from CDF. That's what is coming. But you got money from ZRA, not Zambia Revenue, but Zambia River Authority. Is it part and parcel of this? Just
Can I respond, Chair?
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. So there was a partnership between the Council and the Zambezi River Authority in working at the Lusitu water reticulation. So the part that was being done by the Council is what was budgeted in 1.910. And the Council was supposed to buy pipes. So a total of 1.730 was utilized, and we bought all the pipes. So from the Council point of view, it is complete. So the other aspects were bought by Zambezi River Authority for the communities of Mushungu, Lusitu, Ngombeilede, and Njame.
Yes.
I want to thank Honorable Mutelo for the good guidance. I also noted when I was going through this report where you have not done anything, there shouldn't be work in progress. I think we are also guiding each other. My question, Chair, is on page 14. Oh, you are not done. Okay, let me allow my Honorable to...
Even on the maternity, you just now explained to say, no, this is the money that remained. You terminated.
Actually.
Have you shown your committee the termination?
So, Chivende, I think this is where I think that the DF may have to provide his figures. This project has been terminated, but it has been roofed already. So there's some expenditure. So this is why we think that he needs to put his house in order. So there's a termination letter that we have here for Edo, and the same has been reported to our procurement committee, and another contractor has been given to take over.
Appendix 9. When we've gone to Appendix 9, the termination letter is not there. You have it. Yes. I told the other local authority, please help yourselves and help us. We would not be doing all that, but this is there. We go through, and when we find the materials, we leave. So you brought the termination letter and you are keeping it. But with the termination letter, then in the expenditure there is zero. When there is work now up to roof level, so how can the expenditure be zero? I agree, Chair, with the CS when he says DF has to put his house in order. Then there's some work that has been done. My question, however, on this one, supply and delivery of desks. All I've seen is the purchase order of supply and delivered. Delivered with what you have provided to the council. And you've just said various schools. Are you keeping those desks? Yes. Are you still keeping these desks? at the council?
No, Chair. These have been distributed to the various schools.
And now there's nothing other than what he has just told us. Yes, it reads here various schools. Who take to say you've not distributed because you've just said various schools. Even me, I can purchase, take somewhere and write to say I distributed to various schools. And then you agree. How do we know?
Chair, before I ask my substantive question, CS, are you seeing what we observe, the basic accounting or management of, you have to have a goods received note and a goods issue note.
Chair,
when you are
can I interject a bit? CS and your team. CS and your team, we need your attention here. You are doing something else. This is your document. Don't pretend to be confused when you are not. You are being addressed here. So we need your attention. Proceed.
Chair, just to agree with you and our senior honorable here, these observations, I need your attention. These observations, I hope you are learning something. We read what you give us. What honorable member chair has observed, we did that. So I always say, you are our learned colleagues who understand that when you are distributing, there is the issue and someone must receive in the conditions that are stated. And if you want us to follow, you don't trouble yourselves. If you have that evidence, chair, if they have, it's yours. What we have is this. So if you have extra information, you start grieving as if you are not being fair to you. That is yours. You are requested to submit anything. And the chair says, before we proceed, any document you have, Fomitete even says, that even you have put in your pocket, submit. So that we don't trouble you, because we believe in what is given to us. Now, my question, Chair, is on page 14. CS, we come to page 14. Chair, is on unspent funds, administrative costs. The council Chirundu, like any other council, for the year under review, was given 1.4 million, 1,415,695 kwacha as the administrative cost to run around, to call meetings, sensitization. That is for the year 2023 that we are scrutinizing. What they spent is 2,925,949. The balance as at December 31, 2023, they had overspent by 1,510,254 kwacha, indicating a percentage and overspent of 107%, or they were in negative 107%. I want to learn what constitutes this 2.9 million and that which was spent in 2023 going to a negative of what you received. Then I'll ask substantive questions from there on.
Thank you, Chair. So maybe starting with the first question, we do have the delivery notes for all the desks that we supplied, and if the House can allow, we can provide the same. And then the second one, regarding the administrative component, you will not share that for Chirundu.
Chair, just before, maybe to put record, since we are on air, are those delivery notes in our reports? Yes or no?
Chair, no. What is in the report are the purchase orders.
So why have us so? Is it because those who be listening, they will be saying the council had delivery notes, but the committee was unfair. So I wanted you to clear that you neglected to give us those delivery notes. You were keeping them yourselves, so that we put recordings straight here. You can respond to that.
In short, you didn't tender them as part of your evidence. In short, you denied this committee to scrutinize those documents, reasons based to yourselves. So they are not admissible at this point. You have to make progress. So respond to that question.
Thank you, Chair. So the implementation of the CDF in Chirundu for 2022 was done in 2023. And so this is why the administrative component that is available for 2022 was actually done in 2023. And this is following the letter that came from the Minister of Local Government. There are two letters that we have attached, Chair, which were saying we needed to spend the money that was available on the current and the future, the ensuing year in terms of the preparations for the coming year. So this is why the amount seems to be that huge. It is for 2 years. You also notice that the completed project, as seen by the auditor for 2022, which were completed in 2023, are 16, because they had to be done in the next year, which was 2023. Chair, I move.
Follow-up. Bullet questions?
Chair, administrative component goes into negatives. Most of the projects for 2023 not done. They were done in 2024. What really were you spending this administrative component on? Because according to me, most of the projects were done for 2023 were done in 2024. But the administrative component was exhausted, including the administrative component for 2022 exhausted in 2023. I submit, Chair.
Yes.
Chair, maybe if we looked again at Appendix 9, we'll notice that the guidance was that we needed to even start doing the letters are actually written in 2023, but they are guiding us to do the project identification and all this for 2024. And so that's Appendix 13, which is a commencement of invitation for 2024 projects, CDF projects, that was written on 18th of August 2023, Chair.
Maybe just to help before it comes in, Chair, with your indulgence.
Yes.
CS, I rested my case after you explained, because there was a carryover. That's what, in the future, maybe a matter of guidance. The way you have done an analysis on the performance of youth and grants. Whenever you have a carryover, you should do an analysis of maybe this administrative component, where you say funds brought forward from 2022, then funds for 2023, then expenditure, then it explains. It will settle, because the way you have explained very well that most of the projects for 2022 are being executed or undertaken. So that even administrative component, Chair, should be analyzed for your own help, so that you can clear this committee
Because without that, I haven't seen the analysis for that. In the future, you should do that, so that you say, this is how it was done. Then it will not be an issue. Because like this, you start wondering, where did they get this money? There is a council that was here, for any information, the chair will tell you. They had to dip into, not they carry forward. In other, yesterday, in other course, to get money to spend as administrative cost, they went into negative. So for you, what you're explaining should be put into record next time. When you see such things, you analyze it. Then to be very easy. I thought I should guide the council.
Thank you. Whatever goes up must come down.
As you are winding.
So, CS and your team, you've been found with issues of governance and financial performance. The Auditor General's report for the financial ended 31st December 2024 highlights critical areas requiring attention within Chirundu Town Council. 1, project implementation delays. Persistent challenges in executing approved projects, such as the allocation of funds and scope challenges. Example, Siakacheka Support Club shift from gardening to goat rearing indicate inadequate initial due diligence and weak monitoring mechanisms. Unspent funds and carryovers. Significant balances, for example, 16,161,760 under CDF and 32,877 in empowerment grants carried forward due to incomplete projects or administrative delays reflect poor planning and oversight. Third one is loan and grant management. Disbursement inefficiencies have been highlighted. The other one is resource allocation. Limited funding led to exclusion of qualified applicants. For example, skills development and bursaries, highlighting the need for better prioritizing and resource mobilization. So, key recommendations from this committee to take home. We need to strengthen monitoring and evaluation, implement rigorous oversight mechanisms for project execution, including regular progress assessments and timely corrective actions to avoid delays. Second, enhance financial discipline. Ensure funds are utilized within the allocated fiscal year with clear guidelines for the allocation and sanctions for non-compliance. The last one, improve transparency, public criteria for beneficiary selection and project approval to foster public trust and accountability. So these are the issues that you have to take home. But don't forget, before we finish this sitting where we are scrutinizing CDF expenditure, you are expected to provide evidence on particular queries. Example, the 10 million difference that is here, we need documentation so that our report is clear. Provide financials. On bursaries also, we want to see the payment vouchers. We want to see student head count register, not the one you print in your office, where they signed also indicating the dates, so that we assess you. We want to know why you are paying late, especially the meal allowances, punishing the young ones in the midst of plenty. Your immunity at this juncture is removed. Go and perform other duties. What you say after this, you are on your own. You may take leave.
Thank you, Chair.
There you have it. Chirundu Town Council has made their appearance before the Committee on Local Government Accounts, and we did see the committee through the acting chairperson, that's Mr. Pavuma Kalova, advise the council accordingly. And earlier today, the committee did receive other submissions, and these include Kalulushi Town Council, Masaiti and Rufunsa Town Council. And the two councils, Masaiti and Rufunsa, were actually sent back, and we do expect them to make a reappearance once they are advised on a date to make their submissions again. And from me, Tazapiri and the entire production crew, have a blessed night.